Today's Cajun Court.
We had this conversation.
No, we didn't.
I generally don't let people just interject like that, but I know you are emotional and I understand.
I owe her. I know I've done wrong. I have done everything that I can. I have apologized. I have apologized for almost 2 years.
Since I was a child, it's been this trauma, after this neglect, after this forgetfulness. I mean, it's one thing after the other, and I thought, I graduate college, I get to go live off on my own.
All rise. The Honorable Jacqueline A. Scott presides. Cajun Court is now in session.
Don't make me drop my hammer.
He's the drunk. He did pay.
Just a minute. If brains was dynamite, you couldn't even blow your nose. When the is up to your ears, keep your mouth shut.
I ain't going back to jail. Because this is a railroad job. She probably slashed my tires with her teeth.
This isn't art, this is velvet penis.
An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Take it from me, you can overcome anything. Please change your life. Get him, Rod. Oh, we'll get along just fine when you realize I am the boss.
The plaintiff is suing the defendant for ruining her credit history. The plaintiff insists that the defendant, her father, falsely opened 23 lines of credit in her name. The defendant is a recovering addict and is aware of his bad choices. Will they come to a resolve or will they continue to hash it out? Find out on today's episode of Cajun Court TV.
Cajun Court is now in session. The Honorable Jacqueline A. Scott is presiding. All of the litigants have been sworn in. This is case number 2010. Bad choices, bad credit.
Plaintiff, you brought this case. I'm going to start with you, then I'm going to give the defendant here the opportunity to respond to your complaint, okay? Let's get started.
So my father here has decided that he was going to take out a bunch of accounts in my name all throughout my childhood and not pay them off. So now that I've graduated college and I'm trying to live on my own, I'm not able to even get an apartment because of the credit that he screwed up.
Wow. Have you graduated?
I graduated 6 months ago.
Okay, and what is your major?
Film.
What do you plan to do?
I don't know, really just PA work maybe.
Well, I've read your complaint and I'm so glad you've given Cajun Court the opportunity. So just give me a little background information about you trying to get your apartment, get your life going as an adult.
Well, while I was in college, I was working, saving up money, and I finally got enough to get an apartment and move out on my own. And then I finally get an apartment, and after a month, I got kicked out because I haven't been able to keep up on utilities.
So they let you get an apartment then?
I wasn't able to keep up on the utilities because of all the accounts that I've been trying to pay off that he opened.
Okay. So your dad had opened accounts in your name. Okay. And how did you find that out?
I got a bunch of, well, I live with him right now because, you know, can't have my own apartment. And I was...
Oh, you're suing him and you're living with him. Okay. That's a new one, Rod. Okay.
And so
Oh, it's not funny, but I'm sorry, but...
I'm getting the mail, bringing in the mail, mailman comes, he doesn't ever get the mail, so I'm getting the mail and I'm looking at it, and there's a bunch with my name on it from all these companies that I don't know. So I open them and I find out about all these accounts that I apparently have had for several years now.
Wow. And so what is the monetary value of these accounts?
Right now, after I've already paid off several of them, it's at $5,000.
And that's what you were here suing your dad for?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you communicated? You're in the same house. And I find it so interesting that people live in the same house and cannot speak to each other. So have you spoken to your dad about...
Yes, ma'am. I've brought it up. And the first time I brought it up, he completely denied the whole thing, like I was stupid and didn't have the papers in front of me. Oh, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And then he comes back later, I guess, miraculous memory, and he's apologizing for it, but he's sitting here saying all these empty words, and I don't see him doing anything to try and help.
Is that correct, sir? Sir, yes or no? Rod, these people can't answer direct question, yes or no. Sir, is that...
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Yeah, yes, there's some situations that have happened that kind of caused it, but I take full responsibility for my actions.
Okay. Well, ma'am, so how did you get the matter resolved with all these companies?
I called the credit bureau and I asked them to do a full scan of everything that I've apparently have accounts for. So I have a list of all of these accounts. They sent me a full record of all of my credit, and I was trying to figure out how to resolve it with them. I was trying to work with them, but I mean, I don't really know what else to do.
So did you try to negotiate with them and
Well, I was
explain
trying
the
to
situation?
see, you know, my father has taken out these accounts. I didn't do it, but I mean, there's no canceling it, nothing that they'll do.
I'm going to take a brief recess, and we'll be back. Okay, we're back in session. Ma'am, how many accounts did he open?
Today that I've found, it's been 23 accounts.
I'm a recovering addict. I'm still trying to understand some of the decisions that I've made during those years. My wife and I got into some financial trouble. I was borrowing money, trying to pay it off. I eventually made some decisions that were very self-destructive.
Yeah, and detrimental to this child.
I finally made some decisions
that
that
were
were
PayPal and drugging it up. Explain to me, what were you doing with the money?
I'm trying to understand that myself, Your Honor. I was trying to pay bills because I could not open up any more accounts in my name because I had already messed up my credit. I had only intended to use her name one time when she was a kid. That's when I opened up those credits. And it became easier after that. And I have apologized, and I've done everything I could to try to make this right.
Are you actually kidding me? You've apologized. It's funny how you're apologetic while we're here, but when we're at home, oh, I'm sorry, but you don't do anything about it. You're so sorry here, and at home you tell me there's nothing you can do about it. And how does one turn into 23? I mean,
I generally don't let people just interject like that, but I know you are emotional, and I understand. I'm going to give you 2 sentences, and I want you to be quiet so I can hear what he has to say.
I just don't understand. I mean, I'm his child. I didn't ask to be born into this world. And since I was a child, it's been this trauma, after this neglect, after this forgetfulness. I mean, it's one thing after the other. And I thought, I graduate college, I get to go live off on my own. I get to do my own thing.
So that's your 2 sentences, and I'm going to come back to you, okay? Now, sir, I know that we all have been affected by someone in our families. Most of the families are, drugs, prescription drugs, this crack, medication, all kind of drugs, alcohol. And I understand that. I don't want to understand, but here it is. This is your child.
Yes, ma'am.
And she's been affected terribly. And I would assume she'll never forget what she's been through as a child. And then to have a credit messed up, I think that is horrible.
Yes, ma'am. I opened up those accounts when she was a child, when I was making some poor choices and having a sickness going on. But since then, by the grace of God, I have gotten my life back together.
So have you tried to pay those bills?
Yes, ma'am. I have already given her $500 out of my tax refund.
But she's asking for $5,000.
Yes, ma'am. And that was a down payment towards what I owe her. I know I've done wrong. I have done everything that I can. I have apologized. I have apologized for almost 2 years.
I understand. Rod, pass this to the defendant here. I understand, and I hate situations like these when they are before this court and the families are torn apart. But the good thing that I've heard is that you're trying to get your life back together. And we're going to take a recess, and I'll be back. Okay, we're back in session, and you mentioned that you gave her $500. Have you talked to her about a payment plan or something that can help her get started with her life? I mean, she is young. She's finished school. She's ready to move on. What are you going to do?
Mackenzie, when I gave you that $500, I admitted that I owe everything to you. And I had told you I'm going to pay the rest to you as soon as I can. Your Honor, my wife we were sitting at the breakfast table. We had this conversation.
No,
when
we
she
didn't.
Ma'am, if you would let him finish, I'm going to hear you again. Please do not interject. Sir, proceed.
Your Honor, I recognize that I've done wrong. I have made some mistakes, And I have now understanding, and I am ready to make things right. I will pay whatever I have to pay, and I will do whatever I have to do. The most important thing to me right now is just to be able to restore a relationship back with my daughter. I have gotten my life right with Christ and going to church, and I am doing everything that I can to do. I don't know what else to do. I started with $500, and I know that I'm going to be paying the rest of it too because she's my daughter and I love her.
I commend you. There are so many people have not taken the opportunity to straighten their life up. And it's important that you have that relationship with God. But one of the things I'm also concerned about is your relationship with your daughter here.
Yes, ma'am.
She's young.
I'm doing everything that I can. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah. Are you employed now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you might want to split up your bills and you and your wife sit down. Is your wife employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's the thing I'm hearing. Y'all not communicating. What's up with that? Y'all can't talk?
She's out late at night, and then when she comes in the morning, we're already getting ready and going to work, and she don't talk when she comes in.
Basically, she's saying you're lying. Y'all at the breakfast table and you can't talk?
Your Honor, she's my daughter. I love her. All I know is I'm going to do everything I can to make this right.
Ma'am, are you giving him the opportunity to help you?
I mean, half his story isn't true. We don't sit down and have breakfast together. They're off, gone,
Mackenzie,
doing whatever
your
they're
mother
doing.
and I are
Sir?
having breakfast together when you
Sir?
come in the mornings.
Sir?
I'm sorry.
Now, you say you go to church, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So one of the those Beatitudes, and you need to have a little respect right now. Respect
Yes,
this
ma'am.
court,
Thank
okay? I'm asking you to respect your daughter when she's talking.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Okay? It's going to be all right. Just as Jack is here. I'm here for you all. I believe in the family. I believe that's why I'm here. Okay? Ma'am, go ahead.
I guess by out late at night, he's referring to me getting home from work. I don't go out, I don't party, I don't drink, I don't smoke. That's not my scene. I don't take part in that. So I guess by out late at night, he means I get back from work. I'm doing what I'm trying to do to get my money together, but I get up in the morning, and sure, they've had breakfast, but we don't have breakfast together. They're off doing whatever they're doing, going to work, going to wherever it is that
Did you ever
that
get
they're
authority
going.
involved with this?
I mean, I am now. I tried to, keep whatever out that I could keep out, try and resolve it on our own, but obviously that's not happening.
This is fraudulent. However, I think a good communication between you all is so crucial right now. It's punishable and possible jail time. That's not what we want right now. What I'd like to see you all do is have a relationship. You need a relationship with your daughter.
What? Nothing?
We all make mistakes. That's a big mistake to use somebody else's name to get credit. And it probably didn't go on with family. It probably was on drugs. But fortunately, you have gotten your life together. You want to change, and you want a relationship with your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And you need her respect. I'm going to take a recess, and I'll be back, and I'm going to conclude this case. Okay, we are back. And sir,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here today. I want to thank you for your honesty and transparency as it relates to your trying to get your life back together.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand. I've never used drugs, and I hate to go to the doctor and they give me drugs. But as I understand, and I see so many people, even before this court, are so strung out on drugs, and it destroys family for a lifetime. And you all are in the house together, and I think there's still an opportunity for you all to get together. Now, you made that mistake, and you need to get those funds to her as soon as possible. I know sometimes creditors will write off a debt when there's some fraudulent activity, but I think it's important for your daughter. She mentioned earlier that she's been going through one thing after another,
Yes, ma'am.
and another and another with your drug abuse. And I'm not going to get into what kind of drug you use, but ma'am, do you have a forgiving heart at this point for your dad? I know it's difficult, but every moment of our life we breathe, there's an opportunity to do better. And I think you understand that by your service going to church. And sometimes I know just because we go to church don't mean we're always right, but you're trying. And maybe you should take your daughter to church with you. That's a good thing. So ma'am, are you willing to open your heart and let your dad pay this amount to you, and so you all can be a family?
I mean, I want to, and I do go to church. We don't go to the same church, but I do go to church every single Sunday. When the doors are open, I'm there. But I'd also like to see more effort. I mean, he hasn't called the credit bureau and tried to explain himself, try and take any responsibility. I did. I haven't seen him trying to fix any of this. He sits here and he apologizes and he gives $500 and that's it. It's apology after apology, but those are empty words. I don't see any action that's following those words, and I'd like to see some action following those words and him to take responsibility.
Don't you feel like you should have told the truth to your daughter about the credit?
She was a child when I opened up the credit, and over time, I just forgot about it, and she brought it to my attention when she started to apply for credit, and then I realized what had happened.
And she's about to be doomed. I think I would be certainly pissed off as well.
Yes, ma'am.
But it's not my situation. But one of the things I think you should do is to really take this opportunity to talk to her.
Most of the time when I've talked about it to him, he denies most of it. I mean, he's finally gotten to the point where he admits what he did, but from the beginning, it's denying, lying. And I mean, some honesty would be really nice. Now he's honest because he's in a courtroom, but I mean, some real truth and honesty would be really great, trying to mend a relationship, trying to fix problems.
Your Honor, may I say something?
You may.
I totally accept full responsibility for what I did. I was sick, and I have been seeking counseling with my pastor and with a professional for healing.
So you're saying you had a disease?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay.
And I realize everything that I've done, and since I've gotten counseling, I've admitted to her, and I've confessed everything that I've done because I want to get right with her.
He has in small ways, yes. He hasn't, really made too many efforts, but he has begun to try, yes.
So what did the creditors tell you about the opportunity to clear your...
They've said that there's not really much you can do. It's going to take years of effort after I pay it off.
What we're going to do today, sir, I am going to conclude this case.
Your Honor, before you do, may I say one more thing?
Hurry up.
Mackenzie, I know you've heard me apologize at home, but nothing means more to me than for you to know how much I love you and I want to make this right.
Prove it.
I will.
Okay.
Okay. With that being said, I'm going to conclude this case by ordering you to pay that $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And ma'am, I am going to order that you accept his apology. And sir, how long will it take you to get that $4,500 to her?
We could probably get it paid off in the next 2 or 3 years.
Sir, I think that's unacceptable. She don't have 2 or 3 years to wait.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to order that you get that money to her, and don't do crack, don't do nothing to get it.
No.
Don't you go on a binge or anything like that.
No.
Because a lot of times people are in stress and they go do drugs. I don't want you to do that. I'm going to give you 2 months. Get that money to $4,500, judgment for the plaintiff. The other thing I'm going to request that you all do right here and now, it's an order. I want you to give your dad a hug. Sir, give your daughter a hug. It's all about forgiveness. Genuine forgiveness. This court is adjourned.
After the defendant ruined the plaintiff's credit, he's hoping to make amends, but the plaintiff is all maxed out on forgiveness. Defendant, how do you feel about today's ruling?
Well, it was difficult, but I felt like it was a fair ruling.
Okay, plaintiff, how do you feel?
I think that him having to pay me back is fair, but I wasn't too big a fan of the hug. Years of trauma takes years to forgive, but they're expecting me to do it in 5 seconds.
All right, well, stay tuned for more episodes on Cajun Court TV with Justice Jackie.